Good morning, everybody. I'm Kevin Conroy. I'm a partner at Foley, Hoag in Boston, where I do regulatory work. And meet Amy Peckham, who is the CEO of Etain Health. Amy, tell us the story about Etain Health. I know there may be one or two people who have not heard of Etain Health in the audience. Just tell us what the business is like and what you do in New York.
Okay. I'm one of the founders of one of the first 5 medical marijuana licenses here in New York. It was a compulsion and a family effort, and my 2 daughters, Hillary and Keely, joined me to go on a fearsome competition to win that license. And there were 43 teams, and we ranked number 4, and the compulsion came out of what I felt was a failure on the gerontology practices in medicine, where end of life was really so dramatically mishandled because of specialization between medical professionals. You know, your urologist prescribes one thing, your cardiologist another, your GI doctor another, and the next thing you know, an 80-year-old is consuming massive quantities of medication, one that has another side effect that you take another pill for and another pill for. And in the effort of, being a caregiver, a doctor from Columbia here in New York said, "Why don't you try medical marijuana for your mom?" And our family is our family. It was illegal, and it sat in my brain, and I said, I've got to research this.
It is a tremendous story. Tell me about the name Etain Health.
Etain Health is a choice of my daughters from some beautiful marketing people who gave us some options, and Etain was chosen as an homage to my Irish upbringing, and because it's a Gaelic legendary figure, and it's a woman who is transformative, and as all women are, you're a child, you're a mother, and you become a grandparent. You can be nice and you can be evil. So they thought it was perfect, along with the fact that we only use the feminine, the female plants for our medical marijuana products.
So, and it's 4 dispensaries here in New York and a cultivation site, correct? How big is the cultivation site?
Yeah, the New York law, medical marijuana law, required vertical integration, and 4 dispensaries, and our cultivation has been very small. We started out with just 12,000 square feet of our canopy, and now with legalization, which frankly, the New York program is so small that we, with our 12,000 square feet, well overproduce. And you can't stop growers from growing their plants. And one of the growers is my daughter, so I can't control it. And now we'll be expanding the facility to a 90,000 square foot manufacturing and cultivation facility with 50,000 square feet canopy.
So we got to do at least one little ad here, because one of the dispensaries is here in Manhattan, correct?
Absolutely. I welcome anyone to come visit. It's a beautiful space. And again, with the Irish upbringing and the background here in New York, we used a spectacular designer who's well known for her very, forward thinking in terms of wellness and peacefulness. Cloda Design helped us to create our flagship, which, of course, opened a new retail location in Manhattan during the pandemic. It opened August 1st last year. And it's a beautiful place on 58th Street between 2nd and 3rd. And I recommend you go in and take a walk. And, there's Greg's coffee shop right around the corner. If you pick up a cup of coffee and go and sit by the living wall and listen to the fountains, it's a beautiful place to be.
So you brought up the pandemic. There was a speaker yesterday who I think said, just congratulations to every cannabis business that got through the pandemic or is getting through the pandemic. So, but what did you learn in the retail side or dealing with employees? What were some changes that you made in your business?
Actually, because we were deemed essential employees, it was it was just trying to keep them coming to work. And I think everyone now knows that keeping people coming to work or getting them to come back to work is the biggest challenge we're all facing. So holding on to employees and giving them a feeling of safety was, I would say, half of my day every day. You know, it was a frightening situation for them. And, you know, everyone had a different level of fear. And at this point, the most that we got out of that was the delivery and curbside. We got a little relaxation on the regulations, and we could start to deliver with only one person in the car. Our regulations are intense here in New York, requiring all transport of any legal cannabis by 2 people at all times between any locations, or even to an individual delivery, a home delivery. So that was at least a little bit of a break, because everyone was really having employee retention issues.
Right. And I presume you're still having those employee retention issues. Just generally in this market, it has become really hard to hold on to very good employees. There's so much competition.
Retention is its one problem. Access, like even getting candidates.
And what are you doing to push through that?
Everything you can. You know, every source, you know, and as a family company, quite honestly, I have my cousin working. I have 2 son-in-laws in the business. You know, my family has support networks and friends, and slowly but surely, you fill the positions, but not all the positions, and not necessarily with people who were intending this to be their career.
Right. So I heard somewhere that maybe this thing called adult use is coming to New York. Am I reading that correctly?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And more seriously, every conversation in the cannabis world begins and ends, or often begins and ends with now New York and what this market is going to look like. You are in a key spot to take advantage of that. What are you doing now to get ready for that, and what do you anticipate?
Well, as I say, taking it from 12,000 to 50,000, we're entering other supply negotiations. We're going to be allowed to have 5 medical dispensaries and 3 that are co-located, medical and adult use. So we're trying to prepare our staff, all our SOPs, you know, the technology, changing our delivery platforms, you know, trying to gear up for a lot more business.
So, and I expect you thought that adult use would have come quicker. And
Every
like many
year.
of every year. What is your sense on timing, or what are you doing, or do you prepare for a specific time for it to come, or do you make changes now? Are you holding back on changes? How do you handle this regulatory uncertainty?
You know, pick your nails. Frankly, you know, I wish I had the crystal ball, but right now we're watching very closely all of the opt-out cities and towns. I mean, because it's very localized. And we have been finding that, unfortunately, more towns than you would expect, because the regulatory commission, the OCM, was not, you know, populated with, you know, a board until just 2 weeks ago. The regulations aren't in place, and a lot of the towns right now feel very nervous about making a choice about something, not knowing what those regulations are. And they have till January 1. But since the law was written that they could opt out, if they opt out now, that doesn't mean they can't opt in. They all want to wait and see. So many want to wait and see what the regulations look like. So it's yeah, touch and go. There are a few towns. There are not as many that have opted in, quote unquote, you know, actively opted in. So, you know, citing new locations, and there's parts of the regulation that Two of our locations, 2 of our 5 medical only, will be cited in conjunction with working with the OCM, to do underserved areas and they haven't defined what an underserved area is, whether it's a population number, whether it's an economic number, whether it's a crime-driven location. So 2 of our locations, we will work with them, but there wasn't a them until 2 weeks ago.
Right. So as I understand it, family-owned business, self-financed in the biggest growing market in the United States. So seriously, how many calls a day do you get from people looking to buy your business?
I don't know if I've gotten one from everyone here, but over the years, the calls to buy our business began the day after we won our first license. And we have had no need up to now. We're doing fine. And they started in earnest again a year ago, November, started a whole new run because everyone saw legalization really coming. So we're trying to manage it. At this point, we've put the entire process in someone else's hands and consultants' hands. And we know that we're at an inflection point to really accelerate our growth, and we're willing to talk. We've come to the table.
So, and I don't want to get into any specifics about that because, but when you speak to people or people come to, what is it you're looking for? What is the type of, are there specific characteristics you're looking for in the people who you meet with? Because these are the people you're going to want to be doing business with, and you may be doing with for a long time. What is it you look for?
Well, honesty, which is not that easy to find here. That was the first and most difficult. Over the years, some of that has cleared more, but integrity is a big one. But the biggest thing, I think, for Etain from day one to today and hopefully forever is we are a woman-owned company. We are a women-managed company. We bring women up into management. We've brought women from, being home domestic workers to, becoming first, let's say just entry level, and now they're managers. We give them training. If someone sincerely doesn't do that, I don't think I could have anything to do with them. And we have over 50% of our management is women. And that's women of any background, with diverse backgrounds.
Right. So one of the things that I find in this industry is that growth is so important, and companies are just looking to grow. And there's such an aggressiveness in this industry about deadlines and moving forward. And a lot of that, I think, stems from being largely a male-dominated industry. And I'm interested, sort of the strengths that you've brought to the company, you see in your company because of it's women-owned, because your daughters are so involved in the company. How does that make your company different?
I think it's an opportunity. It gives opportunity where other people didn't offer that opportunity, or they offer it, for lip service and, oh, look at my token, female on the board. Well, 1 to 9. Let's see. How diverse is that? I think we bring a lot of passion, and I know that we are all, the whole team from top to bottom is really obsessed with the quality of our products.
What is it like working? I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, and I can't imagine spending the day with them or working with them directly. Or maybe they'll grow up, maybe I will feel that way. But what is it like working with your daughters on a daily basis as part of your business?
Yeah, well, you're in the dark days. Honestly, anyone who had known our family while my girls were teenagers would never have seen what happened and came together. but they were both graduating in 2014 simultaneously at the same time. One finishing up from Hamilton and then the Dartmouth Tuck program, certificate program, and the other from Tulane with business, BFA, and more horticultural studies. She was a horticultural therapist from the Botanical Gardens. And no one would ever put money on those two girls working together, and that's still not so easy. But in terms of their working with me, everything from high school went away. We're on a mission forward.
Good for you.
And it's excellent.
So you are, we've talked about New York and the opportunities there. You're also doing some exciting stuff in Europe. You want to talk about that?
Love to. So during the pandemic, not only did we move our flagship to 58th Street, which was a pretty massive effort, and we also spent the entire year. One of the things I really hate about the cannabis world is 280E, the tax law. And I started looking, I guess earlier we heard from Chase and Wild, who started in Canada. They don't have that law. I applaud the choice. So I went and we've made a joint venture in Germany, and we're really excited. They got their C of O on the manufacturing facility in January and are just making some of their first sales. It's a partnership with a almost equally long-term, like 100-year-old pharmaceutical manufacturer who is doing cannabis as their effort at family diversification. So it's exciting, and so sooner or later our products will be in Europe first, and it may be that there's more economics to it being over there and shipping it back here.
Right. And you're also not exclusively in New York, or you're pursuing New Jersey. And I know today we've been joking, but today is a big day.
Everyone will know.
And a lot of other folks are in that too. You want to talk a little bit about New Jersey as well?
Well, that's the pregnant pause. I hear that by 1:30, everyone who competed will know.
Right. So you had an application in the 2019 round.
Absolutely.
You're hoping to hear some good news today.
Would love the opportunity.
Right. And so let me just ask you that. What has been more frustrating, the New Jersey delays or the or the situation with the medical program in New York and waiting for adult use?
Well, in fairness, I wasn't waiting for adult use. I was waiting for a medical program that was functional.
Yeah.
You look at Florida, and Florida went, started 6 months after us, and we have maybe listed in the registrar of the state 150,000 patients, whereas they're coming up on 1 million there. They've got a straight trajectory. They started after us. We expected a more robust medical program. So that has been very frustrating.
Right.
And New Jersey, one of the reasons I like New Jersey, because we didn't run around the country like many did. One of the reasons we chose New Jersey and hoped for it was it is actually more business friendly, more manufacturing friendly, and more women friendly. The criteria to be a woman-owned business and an MWBE here in New York is much higher bar, much higher or lower bar in the sense you have to be in business for a year before you can even apply. So what's the advantage? Things like that are very difficult in New York, whereas in New Jersey, you can start a business, and if you're genuinely majority of women, you can get certified as a women-owned business. Right. So it's a little bit friendlier.
Right. Last question. I know this company has grown tremendously and gone from where it was 5 years ago to where it is today. What is the timetable you look at for this company? I mean, can you imagine what this company looks like in 2 years? Can you imagine what it looks like in 5 years? What does it look like?
Yeah. Well, Our other family company, which is in the construction industry, in 2024 will turn 100 years. And I think when we started Etain, we looked at it and we said, let's think 100 years. So we really looked into, and the third thing we did during the pandemic was we totally rebranded, and we looked forward to the future. And I think you've heard it repeatedly from other speakers that we do believe that this is a movement toward health and wellness and toward self-managing your health care and your needs, if you need sleep.
Right.
Most particularly. So we rebranded in anticipation of that and to meet that customer. And we want to continue developing our brand products, and diversifying in the consumer packaged good, in the fashion industry. I don't see an end.
Very good. Amy, thank you very much. This was very helpful. I appreciate the time today. Thank you.
Well, thank you.